Let's dive into it.
And to the calls.
Richard in Malaysia. You're talking to Eric and Christy. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Eric and Christy. How are you guys today?
We're doing really well. Living the dream, man. Like, literally. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, Eric, actually, I was trying to call in to talk heathen earlier, but I overslept and I got lost. So since I couldn't go back to sleep, I decided to try my hand at the Atheist Experience, and here you are. Nice to talk to you again.
Well, rock on, man. Nice to talk to you. What did you want to talk about today?
Okay. First, before I go on to that, I just would like to make a quick clarification on my last call. My last call was on Talk Heathen, the God Formula, if you search for that. Reading the comments, some people seem to have misunderstood my points. Just 3 quick clarifications. My first point
hold on.
3 quick.
Richard.
Sorry.
This is a different show at a different time with an entirely different audience. So
One call per call.
No problem.
So clarifying something that not everybody saw is going to be rough. So let's get a quick synopsis.
So let's move past that then.
Yeah, right. You called in and said that you had a formula to prove the existence of God.
Yes. So I don't want to rehash that. I just want to clarify 3 things. Firstly, my position is if someone says that this is God, the burden of proof is on them to prove it objectively and scientifically to people who don't believe in their God. That is their burden.
Wait, so
that is now I believe in God, but I can't fulfill this burden. But I agree that this is the correct intellectual and scientific way to do it. That's number one.
Okay, so just clarifying this and making sure that I'm speaking this back to you. You're saying that the claimant, the person making the claim, has the responsibility of backing that claim up, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And backing it up objectively and scientifically to people who don't already believe in it. Like, if you don't believe that gravity exists, I can do objective experiments to prove it to you. Belief on your end is not necessary to objectively assess the evidence I give to you. Because a lot of Christians and often say that, you need to have faith before you experience God, which I
puts
don't
the cart
buy.
before the horse. Yeah, so
yes, I don't think that's right. No.
We have clarified. What did you want to talk about today?
Okay, actually there's one more clarification, is that I have nothing against Christianity over Islam. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, they're all religions. They need to prove what they say objectively. That's all. Okay, now anyway, coming to our call today. First, one very quick issue, because I saw a call that you had that was, I think some people ask you about the how can an atheist objectively identify what is moral and what is immoral.
Right.
The subtext of that is if you don't have a God telling you what is moral and immoral, it's not possible for you to actually do that, and therefore you have no moral compass and all hell breaks loose,
Is that something?
Subtext.
It's a common argument.
Yeah. Is that something that you believe?
No, I don't believe that.
Then we will leave that for We'll leave that for somebody who does believe it. I don't want to get in the business of speaking about people without them being on the call, because the more fruitful conversation is the one who believes.
Why I feel that is not necessary, because all of us have empathy. Empathy is a tool that we can use.
Richard, Richard, I agree. Let's get a topic going. What did you want to talk about?
Okay, the next topic is I believe that.
How many topics are there?
No, this is the last one.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the topic, so to speak. Okay, so I believe that we have the ability to directly perceive God, all of us, and it's just very underdeveloped. And it's what is commonly called intuition.
Okay, so
and eventually, I believe that scientific technology will catch up to this and will be able to identify. Yep.
What do you think intuition? Well, first off, let's make sure we back up just a little bit. So you made a claim, and that claim is that everyone, not just some people, but everyone can experience and does experience God. Correct?
I believe everyone has that, unless that functionality is defective in a bodily way. Yeah.
So that said, this is something we can investigate. Everyone here watching can investigate.
Yes.
Now, define this God for me. What is this God that we're experiencing?
Okay, this is where if I define it, we can't investigate it objectively right now.
I didn't ask you how you investigate it. I want you to define it for me first, and then we can talk about how to investigate it.
Because this definition is just my private belief, you see, so we cannot get into,
Yes, we can.
We're giving you that opportunity that you asked for to prove your claim, which is the presupposition for this entire conversation, which I have to point out has been going on for a good 5 minutes and has contained like 15 seconds of actual moving the conversation forward. So what are we doing here, Richard? We're giving you the microphone. We want to hear from you. You're claiming that we can all perceive God. What is God?
Yeah, AXP is more punchy than Taki then.
Okay. So, well, to me, God is the consciousness that creates everything.
Okay, so the consciousness...
And we are a subset of that,
The consciousness that creates everything. How do you know that there's a consciousness that creates everything? So
this comes from my own personal perceptions. So I cannot prove it objectively as yet.
Okay, so why do you believe it without objective proof? Why do you accept it?
Because I have personally perceived it, you see. So, and the thing is, I've noticed that a lot of people... Yeah.
Could your perceptions be wrong?
My perceptions could be wrong, but they could also be right. That's the problem.
Well, so not mutually...
So it feels like we've come to this idea that there could be a God or there could not be a God. I mean, can we distill this entire conversation to that point?
Yeah, that's all of the things.
No,
yeah, that's all of the things.
No, that's not it. If you just give me about 1-2 sentences to finish, I'll say. In fact, my movement away from religion. I was born as a Hindu. Okay, and then I came up and, I had a lot of Christian influence. My movement away from formal religion was because of my personal experience with God, and it's not a continuous thing. It just happened maybe 2-3 times in my lifetime. So the thing is, one thing that I understood to in what I believe to be direct contact with God is entirely logical and sane and not dogmatic and not dumb.
So lead with that.
Once you,
What is it?
Yep.
You didn't have to preamble. Just what is it? I want to know.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is, to me,
No, not to you. You said, no. Hold on. Whoa. You just said it is not an opinion. You said it's objective, that it's absolutely rational, logical. What is it?
It is the consciousness that creates everything.
Okay. We just went in a circle. I said, define what that is. How do you know that's a thing? And you just went in a circle.
And Richard, I have to butt in here to say that I feel where you're coming from. When I left faith, the biggest thing that was difficult for me, because I could look at the logic and the math of it and understand rationally why it didn't really track or follow that there was a God. But I had moments, I had experiences, I had times where I had been deep in worship, deep in prayer, where I had really felt like I had felt something, and I didn't know how to discount those things. And I recognize that you may be in that same place. The study of psychology shook that out really quickly. The moment I started to understand what clinical hypnosis looks like, the moment I started to understand how, all of these different aspects of ritual and routine can play tricks on our minds and different things. I'm not trying to denigrate the experiences that you had. I am telling you that your sense of intuition, that those emotional experiences can always be explained by other criteria. And I recognize that that's difficult to accept, and we don't have a laboratory here in front of us, and we've already been kind of circling around this for a while, but I just want to let you know that there's some empathy for where you're coming from, because it's very hard to distrust your own senses and your own experiences. But I promise you, if you crack open enough books, you'll begin to understand how easily those things can be tricked and fooled.
No, I agree. I completely agree with you, Christy. All that you said it's very explainable. That's why I say I cannot objectively prove it. But this is
so what are we doing?
My instinct.
Oh.
My instinct about it. Because
not your intuition, but your instinct. Is that separate? Is your intuition separate from your instinct?
Is in your profession, is that the same about? Like, what's...
I mean, in psychology, we embrace the fact that words are all made up and the points don't matter, and that we're all just trying to, like, shove information at each other. So, you know, there's room to, like, kind of define these things, but as we're approaching these things scientifically, we need operational definitions.
At least to be able to have a conversation.
But let's not let the issue get lost in the weeds of definitions. I think we all have an understanding of what an instinct is. You have a feeling, you have a perception. Scientists often have instincts of which way the answer may be, and then they'll have to spend their time, sometimes years.
Yeah, I mean, Watson and Crick imagined that DNA was a double helix while they were dreaming. And then they found out it was a double helix. And then it was pointed out that they had already witnessed a lecture in which they had heard people explain that it was a double helix, and that this, premonition had come from an objective source. We don't always in our lifetime and our human experiences have that opportunity to be like, oh, I was thinking about that song because it was playing at the grocery store. But if we had full-time data recorders and people following us around, there are explanations for these things. And I can't provide that to you, Richard, but we've been spending a good amount of time on this, and I still haven't heard anything new.
We can provide you a couple of examples, though. That is an example, right? Here's another one. Do you know what phlogiston is?
Okay.
Phlogiston.
Sorry, say that again?
Phlogiston.
No, I'm so sorry.
No, ether.
Never heard of that. Ether, yes.
Okay, what is ether? Right. Ether
is supposed to be a force that pervades everything. Yes, I know.
Right.
Okay.
But
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Yes, because they came in with the preconception that they thought that there has to be ether, and they spent so much time trying to prove it, just like they did with phlogiston. There are so many examples of science being completely kicked off the rails because somebody decided that they were going to read those things in, when the fact is we're better scientists, we're better people exploring the world when we try and rule those out. Be aware of what you're doing, and don't lean into it, man.
Don't try to prove your theory, try to disprove the null.
Absolutely.
Basic scientific method. The goal here is to recognize that the simplest answer is the most likely.
I'm sure there are a lot of scientists who went along a certain line to prove their theory, and they got it right. I don't have examples offhand, but this is fairly obvious.
Then, Richard, I am glad you agree with us that your use of intuition in the way that we do science is absolutely wrong. Fantastic. I'm glad we've made progress.
No, I did not agree with that. I didn't agree with that at all. I say it is. But your position is very logical. I can't
we're patting each other on the back. That's fine.
It's very intelligent. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Is there anything that you can give us that is going to be useful for the purposes of your call? I mean, I'm looking for meat here, but I'm getting a lot of empty calories.
Okay, I understand. So this is where I can't really give you meat, except to say that from the experiences of many people over history, I do believe that there is a way to directly perceive God, but the influence of religion is such that your perception gets distorted and funneled to the...
Richard?
Yep.
You perceive that through history, people have believed, and it's why you believe, right?
No.
As informed by intuition and instinct.
As informed by intuition and instinct. Yes or no? Hold on, just yes or no?
They've had experiences, so have I. So I believe it is possible for people to have these experiences. Yes.
It is possible for people to have experiences. I agree with you, Richard, and I want to hear some reason, some fact, but I mean, we're just not getting there.
We're going to move on to the next call.
So we really appreciate that, but we're going to go looking for some meat.
I did say I can't prove it objectively, but anyway, thank you very much.
Whoa! Richard! You didn't prove it objectively. When you called last time, you didn't prove it objectively. When you call next time, I'll ask you. But if you keep walking around the issue, you're not going to get to objective. Dude, we gave you every opportunity. We even assumed, right, using charitable listening, that we just didn't understand your definitions. And yet, listening to your definitions, all you did was walk in circles. No, Richard, that is not objective. Please take more time